Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Vermont. I ain't gonna lie to you guys, I'm starting to come around to the Vermont a little bit. I've been talking about this. I said it when I initially played the ship that it doesn't really fit with Legends a whole lot. The more I play it, the more it's starting to fit in with Legends, especially with the new spotting mechanics. What do I mean? Well, those of you who've been hiding under a rock for the last couple of weeks, the spotting mechanic has completely changed on console. Meaning that you can no longer be plane spotted by anything other than a carrier. And when you are spotted by said carrier, only the carrier gets to see you. You show up on the minimap for everybody else, which means you can sneak around a lot more. Meaning, this ship is becoming dangerous. I said this from the get-go. It doesn't fit, but maybe over time. I didn't realize just how quickly this ship would start to come into its own, and we're going to show it right here in this match. I'm not going to say this is a barn burner type of game. We're not out here putting 400,000 damage games on the board with Vermont. There's a reason for that. The ship has a very long reload time, especially for Legends. And our games tend to have a lot less potential damage on the table because we only have 9 people on each team, if you're lucky. And don't end up in like a 2v2 because crossplay. But anyway, we spawn in the middle, and the first thing I want to do is look over towards this angry smoke screen out here in the back. I don't know why the battleship decided he needed to drop a smoke screen right away. Can anybody guess what that is? If you said Colombo, you were correct. But they did. They used their smoke screen right out the gate, which means they're not going to have that in a little bit, which is perfect. Oh, look. Speaking of, hi, Colombo. Let's just give him a moment, shall we? That looks about right. Now, remember what I said about the whole spotting mechanic changes? People don't watch the minimap. We know this. How do we know this? Because we make people look stupid. First shot on the Colombo, 32,000 damage from 17 kilometers. Are you on board of the Vermont yet? Oh, look! Speaking of Vermont, one of the unique things that the Vermont has, and Yamato has as well, but Yamato does it for 32 mil. The 18-inch guns of the Vermont actually overmatch the 30 millimeters of the Zhao. Zhao can angle against a lot of battleships. Anything less than the 457 millimeter guns of the Vermont, you will get a lot of ricochets unless, of course, they're flat broadside. So, you gotta be careful. Now, fortunately for us, everybody in the lobby is shooting HE at us, with the exception of the Mino, because, obviously, he doesn't have HE, so he can't use it. But, Yamato is freaking begging for it out there, so we're gonna try to aim high and give him exactly what he wants, which is all 12 guns of the 457 millimeter 18-inch guns of the Vermont. And, wait for it, bonk. Yeah, that's just a casual, like, 18,000 damage. We're at 63,000 damage in, what, 3 salvos? It's not too shabby. Not too shabby. Now, notice that I'm not just, like, sitting here going all the way to one flank, all the way to the other. The Vermont doesn't like to do that because it's very slow. It likes to stay closer to the center of maps. So if you spawn mid in a Vermont, I'm not saying sail straight to the middle of the map. I'm saying use your brain, but try to stick around the midpoint of the map. Why? Because you will be able to shoot pretty much everybody at any given moment, meaning that you will keep these gigantic guns singing. And boy, do they have an amazing song to sing. Now, unfortunately, I say that as everything goes dark, everybody hides from us, Yamato's kiting away, Colombo's using the island to hide from us, but fortunately, the Worcester says, it's fine, I'll go out and do my job. Unfortunately for the Worcester, he's wrong. He's not going to go out and do his job because he is a dead man. Wait for it. Bonk. Plunging fire citadels on light cruisers. Does it ever get old? I don't think so. I love this ship. I ain't gonna lie. I was struggling so much with this ship when it first released, but we were the only ones that had them. So anybody that saw the ship immediately tried to focus it down. But now people have seen them out and about, and most people kind of discount the Vermont a little bit. Sure, you know that it's got 12, 18-inch guns, but have you ever really been in a game where a Vermont's done anything other than get itself blown up? They're few and far between. Most people don't understand how to play the Vermont. I'm not most people. Not saying I'm the greatest, just saying that you discount my Vermont, I'm gonna make you hurt. I'm just saying. We gonna put you in the hurt locker. You ain't gonna enjoy it. But it will be over quickly. But we are gonna push in towards the center now. We want to get to a point where we can crossfire this Colombo. Now, what you will notice is I start getting into chat, and some of the things that I'm saying is directed at my teammates. I'm saying, hey, Brisbane, over here on the back corner of the island. I'm saying, hey, I'm almost in position to crossfire this man. If you'll be able to spot him, I will be able to crossfire him. Now, he is going to activate his radar right there. That is in response to me saying that I'm in a crossfire, potentially. Unfortunately, the Colombo had thought better of it, and he starts turning away. So we have to settle for a superstructure hit. Now, the good thing is, with this many shells downrange, superstructure hits hurt too. And, not the best shot by me ever. Only got one hit for very little damage. Probably would have been better off shooting that Yamato that was broadside to us just off my bow, but didn't see it. I was focused on the Colombo because I told my teammate that's who I was going to shoot. Fair enough, right? If a dude's going to help me by spotting the guy, I'm going to try to do my job and slap the guy that he spotted, right? Unfortunately, he does manage to beach himself, so fortunately we didn't fire the full salvo. We fired the front guns, realized he was beaching, and then backed off to fire the rear guns where they should be, and you can see the front guns did nothing, the rear guns actually got a little bit of damage. Now, you gotta be careful here. I'm sailing into a crossfire. So I'm going to be very, very paying attention to the people that are on my left. Now, unfortunately, Yamato pulls out. He's angled. We missed our opportunity to get rid of this guy when he was broadside. I'm still checking for the Mino because I know the Mino is a potential problem. Now, I'm going to try to get this shot through the rear cheek. That's why I'm aiming at midship, because he's going forward and I want to hit towards the back. And you'll notice that any of the shells that actually hit towards the back pinned. Everything else hit his belt and did not pin. These are the things that you have to watch when you're playing the game. We knew that if we hit his belt, we were going to do no damage. The Yamato belt, pretty sturdy. If you hit towards the front or the back, where there's less armor, you're going to be able to pin, and you're going to absolutely clap the Yamato. Now this, because he's angled much better, we're going to go for superstructure instead, and you can see we get a much better result. These are the shots that a lot of people simply just do not understand in World of Warships. If you aren't, you got to pay attention to what your game is telling you about your previous salvo, okay? Pay attention to your pins, your overpins, your ricochets, your shatters. All of that information that they give you in those little ribbons that pop up on the right side tells you whether your shot was effective or not. Now, I'm completely discounting this Yamato. He's shown us that he's not fully capable of utilizing that ship in the best of its ability, so I'm not worried about him. However, we do have a unique opportunity to get rid of a Mino, who was definitely not expecting this. Bonk. Wait for it. The team's gonna chime in and say thank you for that one. But we easily get rid of him. Now, here's the problem. This ship is big and slow. There's a Yamato who's kiting away. But he's not the biggest threat to me. Who is the biggest threat? The guy that I can't see, who's going to be spamming stupid HE that has ridiculous amounts of penetration, and I have a lot of flat spots that are just begging to get pinned. Now, as Yama's out here making his turns, you can see I'm trying to figure out what he's going to do. I feel like he's going to stop his turn and go back the other way. We are going to open up the angle a little too much here, getting a little bit complacent with the Yamato, which is never a good idea. But this guy really hasn't shown us that he was capable of really being a problem for me, right? So I've been focusing everybody else. We have a Schroeder on the left side. I'm in a crossfire. I want to get rid of this Schroeder as soon as possible. And there's no guarantee that my teammates, up to this point, they haven't been able to get rid of him, so might as well target him and get rid of him just to make sure. Shots are out. Get the guns back on target. Rear turrets, unfortunately, we don't have the ability to lock one set of turrets and not the other. But we do get the Citadel and finish off the Schroeder. and we do manage to get turned back to angle our armor against Yamato. This is what I'm saying about this Yamato. He's not really showing that he can place his shots well enough to become a problem. However, the Zhao, on the other hand, is a problem. And you'll notice that my destroyer decides that he would much rather sit in a smoke screen and shoot at a goddamn Yamato who's kiting away than go out and spot. This is wrong. However, he makes up for it. He does when I asked him to come out of his smoke, and he gets the Zhao spotted. Now, the Zhao is at long range. It's kind of hard to hit a cruiser with floaty shells like this when they're kiting away as hard as they are. Now, fortunately, we don't immediately get... You see what I mean about the shells pinning? Those shells are all pinning me. There's nothing I can do against that, so I've got to try to, like, keep my guns on target a little bit better. We know he's going to be shooting HE unit. We know that we can't angle against HE at all. So we need to try to get as many guns on target as possible to try to get rid of this man. But unfortunately, between the Yamato shooting at us and the Zhao's ridiculous HE pin, we are going to get melted here. Zhao's going to get very fortunate RNG because he will hit me with HE over and over and over again. And in true World of Warships fashion, it will never trigger my freaking fight fire with fire. No matter how many times he shoots me with HE while I get the double fire immediately. Yamato, on the other hand, he's going to do the T-Bolt shuffle. He finally gets a decent hit on us as we over-angle, which is unfortunate because that is the difference between me potentially surviving here and not. But, yeah, you can see we got hit with that double fire immediately from that Zhao, and then despite him continuing to shoot, we never got the rest. But we do get one last shot from our main guns out. Unfortunately, couldn't get both of the front guns, just one of them fired. But you can see our Brisbane here is now pushing up on the Zhao, which I wish the Brisbane would have been a little bit more, you know, aggressive against the Zhao instead of letting him farm me. Because you watch how quickly this Brisbane just melts the Zhao. And between our teammates, they're going to get rid of that Yama, no problem. So the game's not in any like, doubt. But it is one of those things, it's like, dude, you got all the DPM in the world, just get out there and murder that Zhao. Give him something other than me to think about. And you can see Zhao slaps the crap out of the Brisbane as well. Both these guys are shooting HE at one another. I understand it, but at the same time, you would like to see somebody load AP at some point. And speaking of which, the Zhao actually loaded AP there. But I don't think the Zhao has a high enough caliber to overmatch the Brisbane. I forget what the size of the guns are on the Zhao. But when the Brisbane does open up the angle, he gets a couple of pins. But fortunately, Brisbane takes down the Zhao. But I hope you guys enjoyed. This is a little bit of a different match. I wanted to break down everything that was going on at the moment, pointing out, you know, that I had good teammates that were listening to chat. And this is, I keep saying that because I think people need to start using the game chat more now that the game has progressed to a point where teamwork is so freaking important. It's always been important, but right now teamwork is paramount. Okay? So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Don't forget, this Saturday, I don't know what time yet, but this Saturday, Muse and I will be joining Muse on her channel. I'll leave a link in the community tab at some point during this week to her channel. So make sure you guys check that out. But we will be streaming World of Warships Legends together. I'll be divvying up with her and, I believe, Dark Architect. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoy what I do, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.